This video is for Alex. We're going to run through some of the setup and getting this S900 up airborne. So as you can see, we've got the copter here. First thing we're going to do is raise these arms and twist this until it locks in. You can hear and feel that click when each arm snaps in. Next we're going to put the camera on. I'm just going to move this so you can see it here. I think you already know how to do this, Alex, but I'll just give you a quick. I'll make sure your HDMI is plugged in. You want to be really careful with that HDMI plug because that thing is very fragile. Drop it in, flip it over. And just make sure both of those guys are nice and snug. As you can see, the landing gear is not quite tall enough for the gimbal to do its initialization. So when you do power it up, you're going to want to just either tip it back a little bit. That's what I do. Just tip it backwards a little. It gives it plenty of height to do it. The battery tray is very similar to your S900 tray. See here, it just has a little clip on the bottom. You press that, it slides out. Works the same way as the S900, it just goes down instead of up. You can also see on the battery here, the battery itself uses an EC5. The S900 and S1000 use these guys, which is a AS150 and a XT150. And I'll show you how those work here. So the easiest way to do it is make sure the cable is routed down the side of the battery like that. Lift these up. We'll slide that guy in until it clicks. Connect the ground first. These connectors avoid that spark that you get, and then you plug in the main power, and then we'll lift this up so the gimbal can initialize. And once it does this little startup dance, you can Now on the gimbal control, there's two switches. First off, this is tilt down, tilt up. You can roll left and roll right. You probably won't use roll very much. And then the rudder is the pan. Pan, just look around like that. Right now it's in non-orientation lock mode, which means I can spin the gimbal all the way around and look any which way I want. Then the switch is in the uppermost position on the mode switch. If you flip the switch back to the middle position, that's reset. It'll reset the camera straight, and it'll also be looking straight down. This mode is really handy for aerial photography, if you're trying to do surveying or get a nice straight down view of a house. And that's the middle position. And none of these, the camera's locked like that, so the user doesn't have any control. The bottom position is orientation locked mode, where you have control over tilt and you have control over panning, but only by about 30 degrees. And in this mode, the camera will follow the aircraft nose. So if you pan, the camera will follow the nose. If you're in the non-orientation locked mode, the camera will not follow the nose of the craft. The camera will always lock on to a target in non-orientation locked mode. If you're flying by yourself, you're going to want to be in orientation locked mode, which is that switch all the way down, and that'll keep the nose of the camera pointed straight ahead. If you're flying with a second cameraman, you flip the switch all the way up, and then you have full control, 360 degrees all the way around. The other switch on the camera, or for the cameraman, is this switch here, and that's the shutter switch. And the switch will start in the rearward position, and each time you move it backwards and forwards, that will trigger the shutter. So one cycle on and off will trigger the shutter. There's an infrared trigger right down here in front of the camera. That's basically it on the camera operator side. On the pilot side, this is the same controller that you had. So here, let me turn the 900 around here so we can see the mode light. So you can see right now the switch is in the bottom position. That's the mode switch. Bottom position is GPS. The middle position is attitude GPS. The top position is manual. Manual position is only for emergencies. There's no self-leveling, there's no altitude hold, so you have to do all the flying in manual mode. This is the intelligent orientation control. Currently it's set up for off as the lower position, home lock on the, course lock on the middle position, and home lock on the upper position. This is the landing gear switch here. In the rearward position is down. The gear won't activate on the ground because of the smart gear function, but as soon as you lift off the ground, you can flip this switch, and then once you get above 10 meters, the gear will automatically fold up. Return to home, that's this switch right here. Pull it towards you, means come home. That's basically it. The operation of the S900 is very similar to the S800. Couple of key details you're going to want to look at as far as doing pre-flight checks. Let me just lower this down so I can show you some of this stuff. First one is the video transmitter antenna, which is right here, and you'd like that to be, facing down. If it's straight out like that, you're not going to get any reception behind you. So you want that guy, pretty close to 90 degrees down. It's not going to be perfect, but it's pretty close. A couple of other things to visually inspect. Under here, there's a yellow XT60 connector, which powers the landing gear and the Zenmuse. And then up on top here, there's another XT60 right there, and another one back here. And those are all hot glued, and they're not going to come out, but you just make that part of your visual inspection is just, to check and make sure none of those are unplugged. This powers the IOSD, and this one powers the A2 flight controller, so that's a critical connector there. And the only other really thing to check, which is no different than your S800 was, is the landing gear. You want to make sure these springs are attached, the cables are in good shape, there's no fraying, and all the hardware is tight. Generally, before I do a flight, I'll go through and I'll put a wrench on every single fastener on the whole aircraft. Unless you've flown that same day, it's a good habit to get into. The only other thing is on the props. You see these white paint marks here and here, and that gives you a visual reference if these bolts have moved at all. The torque of these bolts is very critical. As you know, I think we've talked about this on the phone before. So the white paint mark is just a good visual indicator. You don't have to actually put a wrench on these unless you see that this white mark has moved from where it is. I'm trying to think. That should be about it. The rest of the operation is going to be just like the S800 was. I took two 13-minute flights with this thing this morning. I flew it as hard and as fast as I could. Low altitude, high altitude, upwind, downwind, fast descents, fast climbs. I'm uploading the video to YouTube right now so you can see it. Other than that, the A2 manual's got some information in it. I know you're pretty familiar with that now. And as usual, we're always here to help you if you have any questions. So enjoy your S900 and happy flying.